Okay. Get these cans on. We should be good to go. All right. I got to get to these sponsors first. Head over to www.johnbartoloshow.com and go check out all the sponsors. There's a whole list on there, but I want to rattle a few off for you guys. Gallo Technologies, Rhino Metals, Full Quartzin, Galco Leather Holsters, Blackwater Ammunition, Pulsar. Go check out Pulsar. If you're not aware, thermals and IR products have come way down in price. Even you can afford them. Go check them out. A few others we'll get to during the show, but all the sponsors listed on the website make the show possible. So if you guys can, go thank them, go support them, go purchase something. Anything, even a thank you, goes a long way. I appreciate it. Got a special guest today, but for one first housekeeping item, I want to thank everybody for participating in not only the past Danny from Dixon Flannel Company episode, but some of the past episodes. The interaction's been great. I appreciate you guys, especially all you guys on YouTube. It's been phenomenal. So thank you. And also, we will be doing a giveaway with John Norris. I know we have a knife, a book, and a few other things. That's coming up. I'm going to get the graphic done, so we'll get to that. Today's guest is a special guest. She hasn't been on in over a year. This is exciting. There's a lot to cover. She's a manager, CEO, all things Range702. She's the most interesting woman I feel I've had on the show. She's got a lot to talk about. She's very wise, a lot smarter than she likes to make it out to be when it comes to the gun industry. She pays attention. We got Kris from 702.
It's part of my MO to play stupid.
That's it. You're the fucking best I've ever seen at it. You got everybody fooled.
Don't tell them.
You got everybody fooled. I'm telling you, it's quite amazing.
Yeah.
Listen, I love what you've done down there. I've been a fan since day one. You know this. I'm going to have a sip here. Dry. COVID. No. But yeah, no, I've been a fan since day one. I think you create the right atmosphere. You make it such a fun experience. But I want to get into, I know it's been a crazy year. Let's cover that first. It's been a wild year dealing with all this. How have you dealt with it with your staff, with your team, with the range, and how have you approached it to make it better for not only the customers, but even the team in there?
Wait, how long do I have?
Oh, yeah. Go ahead. You get all the time you want. Go ahead.
Wait, let me clear my calendar.
Yeah, a week.
Yeah, it has been a year. I'll try to recap it. So our range, for everyone that doesn't know, Range702 was primarily a tourist range. So, and for everyone that kind of doesn't understand that, because I didn't understand it when I first heard about it. Right. I'll just kind of give a brief synopsis. So there's people, we're in Las Vegas, obviously.
All right.
There's people that come from all over the world, Europe, Australia, places where there's just no access to firearms. And they just want to try. It's like a bucket list thing. So that's kind of what, before COVID, that's what our bread and butter was. That's where 80% of our business came from.
I want to try shooting crowd.
Yes. You know this crowd. Mm-hmm. Well, we do it for them in a safe way, which is, I prefer the safe way.
Right.
So we literally will have we're holding their shoulder. We're holding it's full on. But it's great because it check, box, check. So that's primarily what our focus was. So I had a huge staff, more staff than any range usually would have. And we run tourists all day. And then I don't know if you know, but tourism stopped.
And honestly, a hats off to you. The staff is so aggressive. They're almost overly aggressive. I've had my share. I'm like, Jesus Christ. They want you everything is overly protective, and that's a good thing.
Absolutely. Really John is tell them to back off.
And I'm like, tell them to fucking relax. I have a pro in.
And I'm like, God. No, I'm going to tell them good job.
It's good. No, it is. And you applaud that. I mean, from afar, after you digest it, you applaud that, but they are on you.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have to, we have, whoever from the UK who's never even been in the same room as a gun, and all of a sudden they're shooting a full auto.
You don't even got to explain.
Yeah, you got to be serious, obviously. So I have this huge staff that services the tourist industry.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, no tourists. Zero.
It's crazy.
And the last thing you want to do is lay your staff off.
That was the big thing.
Horrible.
I've said it before on this show. That was the big thing Dana White brought up when he pulled everybody into a meeting when COVID first broke. I've heard this story 50 times from them. He said, my job is to keep all of you working.
Yep.
That's a big thing.
So instantly that was my job. We had, we had here and there, but we were able to overall really keep more people. And right now I actually after a while, once we kind of started picking back up, we had to change our business model a lot, but we ended up hiring people, which is awesome. So
I think it's amazing.
Yeah, we're very happy for that. So we had to turn this tourist, this business that just relied on tourism and just completely turn it around and now service locals. But I mean, you know about this. There's all of a sudden this like brand new customer that we have that we never had before, which is insane. So what we did is we took what we used to focus on fun, and now we do training.
Right.
Which is obviously, for me, it's so important. Obviously I want everyone to have access to firearms.
Of course.
With training. Like that's a piece that is kind of, I feel like, left out a lot. So it kind of has turned into my personal vendetta to provide training to everyone and give everybody access to that training.
Was it hard to transition? Was it hard to like, I know there's logistics of moving fucking tables, but I mean, was it hard to like get everybody's mindset like, we have a different customer now? Super
hard, because first of all, you don't even know, like, it all happens so fast.
Right.
So, and we just didn't know from day to day. And then, the whole, every business owner can empathize with me here. You're like sitting at your TV every night waiting for the governor to come on and give you like new rules that you have to, and like
he's a putz. But that's a different story.
That's a whole different podcast.
That's another podcast. That's a show.
Yeah, but like you're literally sitting there like with your pen and paper and your computer and like what's he going to throw at me? And then pulling an all-nighter trying to figure out how you're going to open up in the morning. And it's crazy. So you're trying to, just, hey, turn this tourist business into a local business is kind of difficult in and of itself. And then also you have these like new regulations just daily on a whim thrown at you.
Right.
So it's kind of, it's a lot, but we've gotten in a good place. And what I love is like, I love what we're doing. I think that there's obviously a satisfaction of like, I helped someone, check a bucket list item. Yay. That was fun. That's awesome.
Yeah. It's a different fulfillment.
Absolutely. Yeah. When you walk out and you're like, that woman was terrified of guns her whole entire life, and she's now safely operating one and proud of herself. Yeah. So that's a whole different level of satisfaction, I think, when you go home at the end of the day. And I kind of love it. So
I think COVID, changed a lot of people's business models. I actually haven't talked about this a lot on the show. I think it's changed a lot of people's business models. They've had to revamp their lemonade stand, so to speak, so many times.
Oh, yeah.
And that's not easy. That's tremendously hard. And I think a lot of people don't understand, what goes into and how, the logistics of that. Like you said, it's beyond sitting down with a pen and paper, right? Like it's like you got to implement all that the moment you walk in the door, whether it's masks or it's Purell or it's temperature checks or it's roped off areas.
Oh.
And I've seen in 702, like you're doing everything you can. Don't touch products. Don't get, everything's being sprayed with Lysol every 7 minutes. Does Lysol work? That works, right? Like it's, I don't want to say the wrong, I don't want to give wrong advice here. I'll have somebody chime in like, that doesn't work.
Right.
It's not 99.9%. So, it's not an easy task, but you overcome it. And then, endearing yourself to the community is never a bad thing, because you were offering free training, free pistol, rifle. I don't know. You said you were offering everybody the free course, which is amazing.
Yeah. So we did that this is literally just to give you guys an example of like how quickly we were trying to change everything. We literally, for maybe like 2 or 3 months, every single day before we opened, we had an all staff meeting. And it was like, here's our new
directive.
Like, hey, this is your new job today. Like, and it was really great. I have to say the team there it's so impressive, because everybody really jumped in and did their part. This was not me like coming up with all these ideas.
Right.
We literally every day sat down and somebody would be like, well, how about this? Well, how about this? Well, let's do it this way. And then we would all kind of agree on something and then literally implement it 10 minutes later when we open the door, which is crazy. But I think that exercise, like you said, COVID changed everything. That exercise, there's not a staff member that I had last year that I have now that hasn't grown like crazy.
Right.
Like that team is so freaking good right now. Like so good. We have something come at us now and it's like a blip in our radar because everybody works together so well.
Yeah, it's crazy because you have to become more malleable as you go through this, because it's a moving floor underneath your feet all the time, and you're at a gun range, so it's not something that's simple to begin with, but people need to keep training and keep participating and learning, because there's such an influx of new gun owners. The numbers are foggy, but it's somewhere around some people say 5 million, some people say 15 million. Again, when they run these background checks, you have to filter through who was originally a gun owner, how do you determine who a brand new one is. So it's something, I mean, I think it's way more than anything they're publishing, because person to person sales, things like that, which will be interesting in and of itself. Have you encountered anyone that was like, I never thought I'd buy a gun?
Literally like 80% of our customers.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's super crazy. So this is where we came up with the whole one-on-one training idea. There was a couple that came in and they purchased a gun, and this is, there's all of us behind the counter. It's like in the mass hysteria days. And the lady like looked at her husband and they were like, okay, like we have this gun. And they're just kind of like sitting there like, oh, okay. And she looked at her husband and was like, do we need to buy bullets for it or something? And he was kind of like, I guess so.
I think so. I should know that answer.
And then he was kind of like, so they took their bag and they walked over and they were like, hey, do you guys have bullets? And they were like, yeah, what do you need? What do you need? What do you want? And he was like, for a gun. Oh. And that's where the whole training came up, because I was overhearing this conversation and I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Getting them to overcome that
There's
awkwardness.
No law that says that I can't let you bring that gun home, but I'm not going to let you bring that gun home. Like, So that's where the one-on-one training started. We took that couple and brought them in the range and showed them how to operate their firearm. And then I just felt like I can't sleep at night. Like, sure, everything that we do is above board and whatever, but personally, I'm like, I can't sleep at night just sending these people like, good luck. Like,
right. No, 100%.
Yeah. And I think being able to protect yourself is not just owning a gun. It's knowing obviously how to operate it. So that's kind of where the whole one-on-one training started. And it started it was raw. Like, it wasn't cute, because it was literally the next day. Okay, guys. So we're going to start training people today. Like,
right.
And then there's a whole process of getting everyone certified and trained to train and coming up with a, curriculum and all that kind of stuff, which is great. And we have now, it's easy, but for 2 months, we literally just gave anybody that wanted a free class. We just gave them a free class. Whether or not they bought their firearm from us, it could have been from wherever, could have been their old grandpa's firearm they had in their closet for the last freaking
grandpa.
Oh, so much of that.
Oh, I'm sure. And
much of that right now.
It's a challenging time, because you're getting so many different people thrown at you. You have the old collectors that really haven't got to the range much. You're getting, of course, there's always the preppers. Love the preppers. There's the training, the training animals. They're trying to be seen and be around and get range time. The guys who are always training, and God love them. And then, of course, the newbies, the totally green as grass, and they all fit a different segment when they come in. And it's a process. As an RSO, you're feeling those people out to see where their competency level is, to see what they can do, what you're comfortable allowing them to do. Because, as you said, you have a tremendously well-trained staff that's constantly keeping an eye on everybody. And there's never a time I'm on that floor that there's not 2 or 3 guys out there at a given time, which is a lot. I mean, it's way more than most ranges. Most people have one freaking person there and someone ringing the register. So it's a lot of work, and it's not easy, because you're responsible for every soul that comes through the door and every round that flies down the range. Yep. It's not easy. And then to make it through this, well, we're not through it, but to make it through this point and be able to do the things that you've done and be as dynamic as you have been to change the business model and begin working closer with the community, it's amazing in and of itself. I mean, it's a huge outreach. It's I couldn't do it. Give you all the credit in the world.
Well, I'm not doing it by myself. I think that's the important part. The team I have is incredible. And I think it's like, to me, I have to do it. Like, at this point, it's like I must. So.
Do you think that there are some people you come across that, just no matter how, like, gun ownership maybe isn't necessarily for them, you know what I mean? You come across those types, but maybe the wife's really interested, like you were saying, or maybe, someone really is. And that's kind of where the training element's born, where it's like, okay, we really want to train them up, and this is what we're thinking, and maybe, because there is an element of athleticism involved, and some people just are unathletic and awkward in some ways. So you have to teach them to be athletes, right? Too. So you can be like one part fucking trainer out there. Like, it's
not easy. I've done the trainings, and I'll tell you, like, I duck out of them. Like, when I duck out of them, like if I have staff that's available, I have them do it, because it's not easy. They're better at than I am, for sure. But it's not easy, and I think just like it's kind of like you have to reel that person in.
Yeah,
you really have to. It's more than just like, here's the 4 basic safety rules.
They want to run before they can walk, is what I'm getting at.
Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah. What's great, what I love though right now is, so you said all these like different kinds of customers.
It's very secular.
It's crazy. I love the new customers.
You like the new ones? I always like the preppers.
Love them. You know why I love them though? You're already gonna know why. Because like you come in my range and you're like, back off. Like,
yeah, no way.
The new ones, they love it. Like, they are soaking up the information that we're giving them. They really they're so respectful. They understand that the firearms are important, and they take safety advice so seriously, which I love, because a lot of these, someone's like, oh, I've shot my grandpa's gun like 10 times. And then they think they think they know everything. And it's just, I think with firearms and training, any kind of training, like, it doesn't matter how good you are. You should always be training.
I agree. I love the instructors, and I love the RSOs. Like I said, with me, sometimes it's like, okay, you told me eyes, ears, this. If my interpretation of ear pro is this, I'm sorry.
We're still mad about the ear pro, John.
Yeah, no,
guys,
no.
John knows how to hold a grudge.
I do live up to my my expectation. I made sure the proper ear pro professionals came out, right. But no, I totally get it. It's more like, I heard you, but this was my interpretation of chocolate, and this is what I think chocolate tastes like. I'm sorry, I'll jump out a window now.
It's not a personal jab at you.
No, I love it. But no, it really is phenomenal. I want to get to other things, which are, because we could spend all day on COVID.
I know.
COVID's a thing,
seriously.
But I want to touch on gun sales and ammo sales, and I know that's not the bread and butter of the range, but it is a component. The run happens, everybody buys. It's crazy. So the run happens, the ammo run happens. How now do you balance inventories, and how now are you advising people on what to buy? Because there's nothing, right? So it's like someone comes in and you just don't have stock. So how do you approach someone coming in saying, what do I buy? You can have them try something, but it's hard because then they walk out and they can't buy it.
Right. So that's literally how we do it, is we're like, this is available. What's going to work for you? Right. Which sucks. And it's so different than what we used to do. And like, if you have someone fall in love with a gun that's not available, it's not really going to help them. So it's kind of a weird time where it's like, well, this is what we have today, so let's pick the one that works best for you.
I think we're in a bad place.
Yeah, it's not great, but I will say to everyone, like, I told you so, because and I'm sure this happened to you too. Everybody comes out of the woodwork this last year.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm just kind of like, well, screw you guys. It's not really what I say. I'm like much harsher, because I'm like, I've been telling you to do this for years. And
especially the people you've been telling.
Yeah, I'm like, I've been sitting here for years telling you, like, come buy a gun. I'll train you for free. I'll whatever, give you a discount. Like, I can't do anything now. Like,
so I have a theory. I think a lot of the gun companies, especially the ammo companies, they need to really take this as a moment of pause, because you cannot stifle inventories the way that they're being stifled. You have to feed the meter. So I understand gun companies because of what's all involved in firearms production and what goes into that and what that looks like. And right now, I know all 2021 inventories are spoken for the most part with all major manufacturers. Yeah, you'll find some smaller ones that can participate in a smaller buy. But right now, I've talked to large manufacturers. They're like, our inventory is spoken for. Like, we literally cannot produce. Like, there's no, like, do you have 5 laying around? Like, there's none of that right now. But the ammo ones are more concerning. And the ammo ones right now make me the way that I am, in how I'm paranoid with how ammo production is being handled. I think the whole ammo shortage is a farce. I think it's a total farce. I think the ammo companies love 80 cents for 9mm. Upward. I got a text today from my spies. I have my agents out in the field, my spies.
Tell me
that they're paying in Miami. They're paying $51 for 50 rounds of 9mm. I said, you've got to be fucking kidding me.
That's true. Yep.
But what I'm trying to tell these ammo manufacturers, because every CEO from an ammo manufacturer now is getting up and doing their thing, because they have to address the people, right?
Yeah, they're doing their YouTube videos.
I'm not going to name a company, Freedom, but they're putting it out there. But they're not answering the difficult questions. They're talking about hunters. They're talking about primers. And my concern is, if you don't have the ammo, we can't sell the gun. And you have to stop taking the popcorn out of a movie theater. You're literally taking, and what that does is this is what some of these dingbats don't realize when they hold back inventories. If instructors can't get out there and train, how can you be an instructor today, Kris? How can you instruct when you say we need 500 rounds for this training, and 500 rounds cost $500, and then it's $200 for the class? They've literally can shut down the whole instructing business.
Absolutely. And not to mention, like, the things that the price is just, it's out of control. Think about this. There's armed guards. This happens all the time at my range. We have to qualify armed guards. They have to come in and qualify every so often. They have to come and pay for their ammo now. And it's like, it hasn't doubled. It's like quadrupled. And
it's a dangerous game.
The training thing, like, now we have to, you have to pay for training, but you also have to pay for ammo, or people that can't even find any ammo for their gun. There's a armed guard I know that actually bought a new gun because he was shooting 380. I don't know why he was doing it, but he couldn't find it. You can't find that anywhere, so you had to buy a 9mm.
I think it's a very, and I want to get your take on it from a range level. I think it's because you got a lot of people shooting full auto in there. It's a very dangerous game these ammo companies are playing, and they claim it's not a game. They're short of primers. They're this, they're that. Listen. And then they try to say, we're going to look at our business model in a rolling 3 before we expand. Motherfucker, you got to expand. If in 3 months the ammo industry has been crippled without us being at a war, you got to rethink your business model. I'm sorry. I don't need an MBA to figure that out.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to rethink your model, because you cannot do that. You cannot stifle the training, or you have to look at your distribution methods, because the trainers clearly aren't getting the inventory that they need. I know guys that can't. They're training 3 classes this summer. Yeah. They're like, I can't train. People can't get the ammo.
Yeah. Also, it's kind of gross when they say it's hard to expand. Like, shut up. This has been a horrible year for everyone. And the things that, obviously we just talked about all the crazy things that we did at the range. I'm not the only company that's done crazy stuff like that. So, shut up, stop whining, and figure it out.
They answer some of the safe questions, and I just find it incredibly hard to believe that all of a sudden, within a 3 to 6 month time period, the entire ammo industry was crippled. I have a hard time believing it. So you mean to tell me, if we were at war too, and you had a manufacturer for the government and us, in 30 days, we'd be out of ammo.
Right. We better not go to war.
We better not ever have a war where we need bullets, because we're not going to have any. But it's to me, it's a very dangerous proposition. Now, I understand common sense. When something goes up to 80 cents, they don't necessarily want it to go down right away. They're trying to play the game and manage the inventories and satisfy the big dealers. But when you do that, it's playing with fire, because you're not trickling enough down to the lower levels.
That's also the short game, huh? That's not a long game.
It's a very short game, because what's next? $1,500 a case for 9? That's where we're going. If what I'm hearing is true out of Miami, at $50 for a box of 50 rounds, we're in trouble. We're in deep fucking trouble as an industry, because what's going to happen is then you're going to create a problem at the gun sale level.
Yeah.
Because no one's going to buy anything if they can't get the ammo for it.
Well, what's interesting is new gun owners have no idea how much ammo costs. And I think that's what they're riding on. But it's so new gun owners, they come in, they have no idea how much a gun costs, which is why guns are so expensive right now. And then they have no idea how much ammo costs. So when we have people come in that buy ammo that are new gun owners, we could tell them it's $100 for a 50-round box. They just don't know. They've never purchased that before. And I think that's gross on so many different levels.
Yeah. Imagine if the food industry decided to choke off the supply.
It's also massively anti-2A, in my opinion. You've been waiting for so many,
Stop. If you think half these companies are pro 2A,
don't.
You have another fucking thing coming.
No,
I don't even have to get into what the former Kimber CEO recently
just
said. I mean, give me a break.
No, absolutely not. But as 2A supporters, we should be outraged, is my point.
I'm the only one. I mean, there's very few people I know on LinkedIn. I posted a bunch about it, and a lot of people have reached out to me because they're buying it at a wholesale level, and they're saying, John, I'm getting access to it only when I use threats of like, I'm going to take my account somewhere else or whatever. So it's there. I mean, I literally watched the Federal Premium CEO stand in front of pallets of ammunition, and I'm like, it's there. I think it's just they using. I do think there's a little bit of a supply. I think, anytime you have a run like this, the supply chain gets interrupted, and I get that. But you mean to tell me you're literally producing the popcorn in a movie theater? Literally the popcorn in a movie theater. You're literally popping the popcorn in a movie theater, and all of a sudden, on Friday night, you say, we don't have any.
Yeah, no, there's something wrong.
There's no fucking way that happens, because if I was running a company like that, if I was running a lemonade stand like that ran out of lemonade, I'd be out of business. So everybody has to step up and start to question this, because to me, it's a gross negligence. Now, what happens? Forget about the instructors. Let's say you don't care about the instructors. You don't care about 2A. You don't care about any of these things. What happens when a tax comes in and you're paying 80 cents and now you got to pay another, say, I don't know, 7% a box, maybe 10%? Forever, because I don't know anybody that repeals taxes.
Right.
So that comes in on a case. We'll never see reasonably priced cases again.
No, never.
They don't understand that throwing that stone into the lake and causing that ripple long term creates a huge cataclysmic problem. We do this all the time whenever there's a scare, right? Whenever there's a scare, supply, and all of a sudden you start seeing $2,000 ARs, $3,000 ARs, $4,000 ARs, and everybody starts paying. There's a scare. We got 4 years of a scare. Terrifying, right? So how does that work? How does that play out? It's absolutely terrifying to me.
I don't think it's going to work. I think it's a short game, and they're just thinking like, how can I profit off of this moment? And what everybody needs to understand is, and this is like where my 2A thing comes in, and I know they're not pro 2A, but I think that there's a lot of 2A people that aren't outraged.
I know gun manufacturers, and I'm not going to name them, that don't even allow their employees to carry guns in the building.
Totally, but there
don't
needs
even
to
go
be
there.
More. My point is, there should be more of a 2A outrage, and there isn't.
It's insane.
Like, we should be angry.
Instead,
all of us.
Instead of marching, on the Capitol, we should be raising these conversations.
Yes, please, exactly.
It needs to be dealt with.
Exactly, and right now, okay, so for years we've all been saying we want all these people, that have been massively anti-gun to not be, and now they are. They all have guns, and we're totally screwing them.
And we can't train them.
Yeah, and we
can't give them ammo, so they can't go out and enjoy the sport of shooting, the fun of shooting, because listen, anytime you charge $40 for the movie ticket or $50 for the movie ticket, it takes the joy out of seeing the movie sometimes, right? Like, you can only charge so much to get into Disney, right? There's limits. So right now, this is what I don't understand is relax your inventories a little, guys. You got to get that inventory pushed out there, or I'll give you a solution. You have to get the ammo in the right people's hands.
There you go.
There's instructors, there's trainers out there. There's people that are trying to put people through the paces and indoctrinate them into shooting, which I don't know an org that does a great job indoctrinating anyone besides the Rangers and you and the people on the ground, the people on their feet.
Yep.
But it's baffling to me. And I've had this issue. Now, you have to obviously procure an insane amount of ammunition for the range at all times. Have you seen different reactions based on how you solicit the ammo or how you get it?
Yeah, and of course we're selling ammo for like super expensive. We have no choice. We're buying it for super expensive. But one thing we do that I think is important is we ration out what we have. So we literally are like, this is for CCW, this is for training, this is for so we know we won't run out for those reasons. But I don't really know if anyone else is doing that.
But if you run out, where do people go? I'm
not gonna run out.
Yeah, never, never. But if you did, it's
terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
It's terrifying.
Absolutely.
For a while, we were the only place that I know of in the city that had 9mm. It was insane. It's crazy.
It's just, I think it's a very dangerous game, and I think that the manufacturers have to get their act together, and whether it's getting on a call with their FFLs, with their distributors, and saying, listen, here's how we're going to fix this. Yeah. But when your answer is, we look at things on a rolling 3, motherfucker, if your industry was crippled in a 3-month span, I think you need to tighten that gap up a little bit.
You don't need to be in charge then.
Yeah, I think you have to re-examine how you're doing things. Now,
there's just so many businesses that have done insane things over the last year.
Put a tent in your parking lot and make primers.
Thank you.
Do something. Like, anything. How about this? Clean brass in the parking lot.
Seriously.
Find a way. There is a way.
Yep.
Find a way. Build a temporary facility on I don't know. Get a permit. Figure it out. Yep. But find a way. I don't care if you're going to build a hut out back.
Absolutely.
Find a way. You always want to do more. Anyway, that's the ammo rant, but it's the truth. I mean, I'd like to see a little, like, what are you doing? Oh, we're in a board meeting with our board that is anti-gun and our bank that's anti-gun. We're going to re-examine things with all these.
Yeah, that's what's gross to me.
That's what's terrifying.
And it's also gross that, like, you take time to make a YouTube video. Like, get on the floor and do what you need to do. I have spent so much time this year, like, doing grunt work. So much time. I have not been, sitting around in the moment. That's insane. You can bet I wasn't like making a YouTube video talking about how insane it is and how hard my job was. I was like scrubbing toilets with my dude, like
you got to do it.
Yeah. Like get in there, make it happen.
I think there's a lot of solutions that could be presented. And I think there's a lot of stopgaps that could be presented to make it a lot easier. Now, with that being said, moving on from the ammo discussion.
Okay.
Because I
Take a brief moment and take a breath.
I have to breathe because I could get really excited about this really fast. But I think the ammo thing is something that everybody should start talking about. And I think as more people do chime in and as more people literally stop buying, which is the worst thing, right?
Yeah, but I mean,
these companies will figure it out really quick.
Yeah.
But 80 cents a round and you plan on wanting it to stay there. If you really cared about the gun business, this is my final thing I'm going to say. If you really cared about the gun business, you would go to all of them and you'd say, we're going to lock in pricing, and this is how we're going to do it. We're going to give it to you for this, but you have to lock in at that. It's hard to do, but there are ways, there are ways. So can't sell a Glock for $900 in a store because they lock you into pricing. Yeah. Unless you're a pirate. Some people operate that way, but you'll never get a distributor deal.
Right.
At that if you operate like that. So all this happens, and we get no SHOT Show. We didn't even talk about that.
Ugh.
Blessing or curse?
Well, I have a love-hate relationship with SHOT Show, so
blessing. You could say it. I'll
take a year off. Like I was mad that it was canceled. Just I think because of the points. Like I wish there would have been like we're not canceling. Like I think that would have been great. So I was mad it was canceled, but then I was also like,
they'll never take us alive.
Right? Yeah. Like that fighter in me. Like I always want to be like, like.
Yeah, they'll never take us alive.
But then I was kind of like, oh my god, I get a year off from SHOT Show. This is so amazing. Like, because it's gonna be there again. It's not gone.
Yeah, I mean, I think the NSSF has to revamp the way they approach it, and I didn't like the idea of the separating of the two rooms because it just turns into too much of a carnival.
That was
atmosphere. I don't love that, but I think a lot of people were okay with the year off. I think a lot of people like what I'm calling now like the log cabin year. Like it's kind of like we all get to like just hunker down, put the fireplace on. It kind of is what it is. Like everything else canceled, so it's like, why not this? And people get to reposition their budgets and figure things out. And I think when it comes back, I'd love to see a revamping of the approach to the show, the media associated with the show, the seminars upstairs. I'd love to see a few different approaches, and I'd love to see it be more about that and less about going to Circle Bar and hanging out and jerking everybody off.
Yes, please.
I would love to see it be more about that. I mean, granted, at any trade show, you're going to always have that component, but I would just love to see more worthwhile stuff at the show to make it more of, because if you went to a show like in the finance industry, it would be a totally different show. If you went to a show in the broadcasting industry, it'd be a totally different show. If you went to there's two in the gun business. The thing with SHOT Show is they've kind of always danced in between that, like, we're going to be open to the public, but we're not.
Right. Yeah.
If you wanna have more people there and you wanna sell more tickets, if you will. Just open it to the public and charge, $50 or $100.
That is exclusive.
Yeah, I mean,
but it's not though.
It's not right.
No,
it operates totally in that in between, and that's what I don't understand, Kris. And I never understood that about SHOT Show. I think they should just say, instead of we're going to put a booth over here and we're going to let every pouch guy in. And I don't think everybody should have a booth, because I really don't think it's great for their business necessarily, because not a lot of them sell at SHOT Show. It's just they're running around hanging outside the booth saying, I got this new pouch here. I got this new this.
Yeah.
I think that they should just open it up and say, we allow foot traffic, we're allowing 5,000 regular people for, $50 a ticket.
Totally. And especially because they're there anyway.
That's something I've been thinking about for a while. I'm like, just open it up.
I mean, it's a really great, let's see what they do next year. It's a great opportunity for them to do all of those things.
It's a great opportunity for them to look at it and revamp it. And I know it affects you in a couple roundabout ways, because you have events and you have things and you're constantly busy. But I think right now is a golden opportunity for any business to re-examine their marketing plan, the way they approach things, how they do things, even like you said, interacting with the customer. Now is a great way to kind of wipe the fucking whiteboard clean.
Oh yeah.
And try a couple different things and approach the whole situation a little differently, and say, why not?
Yeah.
Because if we're gonna fail, what does failure look like, right? We tried something new.
Right. Yeah, that's what we're doing with our, we'll open up again to tourists someday. I don't know.
Hopefully soon.
Hopefully soon.
Well,
but we've wiped this slate clean with everything now, and we get to start over, which is awesome.
With this huge influx of new gun owners, it's interesting. It's going to be a lot of fun to see how ranges and how especially indoor ranges evolve, because indoor ranges is always like the gateway drug.
Yeah,
to
totally.
everything. It's totally a gateway drug. It's the pot.
It is.
Before the heroin.
Yep, I'm the pot dealer. Just try one.
You're like the first dime's free.
Totally, that's what I did. I was like, I'll give you a training class for free.
Free. No, it's true.
Wink, wink.
Yeah, it's so true. It's the gateway drug, because you start out indoor and I'll go to the range, I'll shoot, a couple mags, whatever, rent it for an hour, right? Couple mags, and then pretty soon you're strung out on full autos and everything else.
I mean, that's how it
starts. And
MP5s. I literally purposely reel people in and do that on purpose. Absolutely.
It's so true, but it's watching this play out will be a lot of fun, especially with the influx of folks, and hopefully a lot of young people, because for a while I was worried about the young shooters because of the woke mentality, and everybody's trying so hard to be, crunchy and be, anti this and anti that, and the Karens. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm like this. I don't see how self-defense and personal responsibility hits. And then COVID hit.
Yep.
And COVID hitting was interesting because it forced everybody to think about being, I need to be aware. I need to be ready. Someone's going to try to steal my milk. If you're from New England, someone's going to try to steal your milk and eggs.
Yes.
You're worried about, because the minute there's a snowstorm, we got to get milk and eggs.
Oh
we're going to run out. It's 2021. We're going to run out of fucking toilet paper. Give me a break. You can use a towel, people. Give me a fucking break. Give me
tips from John. Use a towel.
There's always an option, but shit, you don't need to go out and get crazy. So, that aspect of it, I was a little scared, but this coming in, I think, lit a fire.
Yep. I love it. That part I love, because I never, I couldn't understand why it's everybody should want to defend yourself. That should not be this group of people don't do that. It just should be we all drink water. We all defend ourselves. That's we all buy toilet paper.
I just have a theory that I think everybody should be fully prepared to survive a fight for at least 3.5 minutes. I don't know where I came up with it, but I just believe it. Any kind of fight. Someone's coming at you with a hatchet. Someone's coming at you with a gun. 3.5 minutes. Somewhere, because it's always measured in threes. Every fight happens in 3 feet. You have 3 seconds to react, whatever.
Okay.
That everybody has these theories, right? Whatever. But I just think you have to be able to defend yourself on some competent level. It doesn't mean you need to go out and be a jiu-jitsu black belt. Right. Doesn't mean you need to be a judoka. It doesn't mean you need to be a JJ Rakaza on the range. But you just, you have to be able to defend yourself with some degree of competency over an acceptable period of time. Now, I get it. I'm going to tell everybody something. Everybody can get the drop on everybody. I get that. That's just the real reality. If you stalk your prey long enough, you'll find a way. But at the end of the day, I think having some competency around all the different elements is going to contribute to your long-term success. And it's a term Rachel Balkovec used when she was on the show. She's the Yankees hitting coach. She said, I just want to be more capable. It's about being slightly more capable in everything you do. And the hope is that everybody you come across, like, I don't love answering 9 million gun questions, but I always tell people, you know, I want you to outgrow my frustration and find someone else to ask questions and find someone else to ask questions and find someone else. Just like you want them to outgrow 702 and send them to an outdoor and you hope they come in and buy everything and then go to the next, you know, it's, you want to see them grow. Any student you want to see grow. And I always tell people when they're starting out, find the most competent person at the range, absorb all you can from that local fuddy-duddy, whoever it is, you know, it could be me, it could be anybody, it could be you, but take in all you can. And then when you reach the point where they can't give you anything else, find the next person. And that's the best way to approach it. And that's the best way to learn long term. You're lucky in your range because you have a lot of good guys that I know they're insanely knowledgeable. There's some I know how knowledgeable they are.
Yeah. No, I think that's the thing that's unique about our range. Not only do we have, you know, people that are knowledgeable, because every range does, we have a lot of them. And we provide easy access to them, which is the other thing. And then we also, so like my story, because I used to hate guns and be terrified of them. Yeah. So I think it's unique that like I run the range with that mentality to say like, how would have I felt walking in here 3 years ago? And I think that's kind of unique because a lot of people in the industry are so like they've been immersed in it in their whole life and they forget that this is terrifying for some people. So literally down to like what kind of clothing we wear, how we greet people when they come in, it's just different. And we like encourage that person who's terrified to come in, where a lot of places have like a different vibe. And I think that's kind of, that's something that's kind of left out sometimes.
I think factoring that into your vibe and the way that you approach it is something that is really important, right? Like I think it gives you a unique perspective and it gives you a unique outlook on the customer end user. And it's something that you know is lacking not only in gun stores, but lacking in the approach people take. So I don't want to shit on the FFLs, right? But I'm going to say this. When you go in an FFL for the first time, a traditional FFL, a lot of times they're like, what do you want? Now, they've changed. They've gotten a lot better because they carried that stigma. And that's why it was so hard for women to get involved in the game. It was so hard. But they've gotten a lot better. But you taking that approach, and I think them 702 having a woman in charge adds a different tact.
Yeah, absolutely. And a woman who was terrified of guns. So I remember how that feels walking in. I remember before I started working there, I had never been to a gun range before. So before accepting the position, I went to all of the ranges in the area. And the only thing that I never had a worse day in my life.
Right.
And it's because I don't look like someone that would be into guns, which at the time I was not, but I still get that every day. They're like, where do you work? And I'm like, oh, I work at the Range702, the gun range.
Right.
I'm like, yeah. Oh, you don't look like someone that would work there. Like, why do we have a look of 2A? Like 2A should just be, like I said before, it should be like drinking water. Like everybody drinks water. Everybody defends himself. It shouldn't be like a certain look. I get that all the time. Oh, you don't look like that.
Well, part of that problem is the industry is greatly affected by the theater that we were in. So when you walk around the shows, you see the guys in the BDUs with 17 gussets, I call it the costume. They're in the whole costume. And it's like I was having a conversation with manager Matt from Trifecta the other day. He's like, you go to a fitness show and people are walking around like they're working out.
Yep.
Like they're in workout. Like it's a costume at that point.
It's true, yeah.
It becomes cosplay, right? And it's like, there's no fucking way, dude. You go out and you go to walk a show and you're wearing fucking boots.
Yeah.
And BDU. Like, are you kidding me? Like, is that how you go in public? Because that's when you create a stigma, right? Yep. It's like if I went around everywhere in gym clothes, it'd be like, the fuck, you know?
Yep.
So you have to have, the industry has always been a little bit that way and a little bit, I guess you'd call it, I don't want to say backwards, but it's like playing dress up and it creates a stigma, right? It's like certain shows you can see it's clearer than clear. You know, you go to GAO in Pennsylvania, forget it. I mean, the preppers come out of the woodwork.
Right.
So you see them. It becomes, one of those things that we're forced to carry. It's like for years, the NRA was identified as like the dusty buckle and boot guy gets out of the pickup and the belly's hanging over the belt. It's, they didn't train.
Yep.
And then I started bringing a lot of the fitness element into shooting with guys like Tony, Real World Tax, or certain people. The fitness element started coming into it. I mean, I don't take total credit, but I brought a lot of bodybuilders into the sport, into the light of the sport. But it's like, dude, do you want to sell to the 25 guys in BDUs, or do you want to sell everybody?
Right. And it's also very intimidating as someone that's new coming in. So when I was working at the range, I worked there for a few months before I ever even shot a gun, because I was just like still terrified, even though I was working there. And I felt like I would not be able to do that. Like I felt like I will never be able to shoot a gun. I can't do it. I won't be able to do it because I can't look like that.
You start thinking you need all this Molly. You start getting this overwhelming belief that like I didn't wear camo. I'm wearing a camo hat right now because it's great.
I know. I'm like, nice
but
hat.
I've never worn I've never worn camo until like 2 years, because companies they print so much stuff, and you're trying to wear a brand and you're trying to support it. And, it's like, listen, you don't walk around every day in a plate carrier, right? Like that's not real life. And it creates a certain barrier of entry into it. And that's part of the fear, but I think your approach, and I think you coming from that background and coming from that understanding of like, I don't want someone to walk in, because you're the best thing in 702 in terms of when you see you feel comfortable right away. Okay, here's a woman in normal clothes, right? Here's, and I don't know some of the guys, and there's reasons. But it's, here's someone in normal clothes, not, intimidating, not scary, and that's great for the women, especially because I can spend all day talking about the women's market, the minority market that have blown up in the shooting world. It's tremendously comforting to have something like that. And I think a lot of FFLs and gun stores should take a page from that. I think they really should.
They should. So, Jamie's been on the podcast. Mm-hmm. She shoots at my range. I literally saw.
Hi, Jamie.
Hi, Jamie. Shout out to Jamie. But I saw her. I didn't even meet her at this time. I just saw her walk in and like go into the range, and I was like, oh, she can shoot.
Yeah, that's the.
And then I was kind of like, oh, I can do this. But I think that's why it's important to not have that stigma.
Those barriers of entry, for a while, it's so fucking dumb. You and I have always agreed on that. I literally I've had it out with people so many times. I'm like, what are you, a fucking Democrat? Like, are you kidding me?
It's literally like the people that are so, like, they're in their mind, they're so pro 2A. And I'm like, dude, you're hurting us more. Like, stop.
You're not helping.
Please stop. Because it makes it seem so extreme, and that you have to be in that extreme group of people to be a gun owner. And it's freaking crazy. Like, that's why I get angry when people are like, you don't look like a gun owner. I'm like,
what's a gun owner look like?
There should be no look. Like, there should be no look.
That's a byproduct of really crappy marketing over the years,
so
Kris.
Bad.
And I joke, and I'm not picking on them, but I joke like those old 511 ads. Like,
oh yeah.
It's just they were very dusty, and everybody in the industry did it. I'm not knocking them, but they're the easy one that comes to mind.
Yep.
But there's so many companies that did that. Like, I had a conversation. I'll keep the company private, but because I know them really well and I'm working with them on an ongoing basis. But I went to their page, and it's like every other picture is like a Mill Leo type fashion, and I'm like, what's a majority of your customers? And they're like, oh, we kill it, the civilian market, we're murdering it. We have a couple government contracts. I'm like, every one of your picture looks like, some guy in Special Ninja Forces. I'm like, that's great if that's what you're going for, but I think that's more for like a Mill Leo page.
Yeah, and it's intimidating for all these new gun owners, and it's also just not realistic.
It's not. It's completely not.
Like, the average person that's walking around carrying is just dressed like you and I, and like, that's okay. That's how it's supposed to be, and that's so unseen.
It'll be a great day when we realize that the customer is everybody.
Like, literally
everybody. That'll be the best day in sports fans. That'll be the best day. And
trudging away until then.
Yeah, and that's what you want. I mean, that is ultimately what you want. Because, I mean, we are secular, and there are people that fit into certain sects of the business. But at the same time, we should be catering to everyone, and we should have that type of mentality. But it is rare that you go into, whether it's a gun shop, and I will say the FFLs have gotten a lot better. My hat is off them. COVID has forced that. It's pushed it. So the good that's come out of COVID is that in particular, because you can't be intimidating anymore at a gun shop. And sometimes I like to go in. The hard thing with me is sometimes I like to go in, I like to just walk around, and I like to just check things out, see what's on the shelves, and you get the guy who's like, "Can I help you? What are you looking for? What do you need? Oh, you want to look at that?" And I'm like, dude, relax and just peruse around a little bit. People want to get comfortable. I hate it in Target and Walmart too. It bugs the shit out of me in some of those stores too. The person that like follows you around the hallway hawk that's like, "What can I get you? What are you looking for? What aisle do you want to go in?" I'm like, "Do you want me to buy the one thing I came for? Do you want to buy 5?
Maybe you look suspicious.
That's true, actually. I never thought of that. Maybe I do. I guess I do. Maybe. I had that happen. Home Depot's big on that. No, Costco's the worst.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
They chase you down the aisle in Costco.
What's the store? The Buckle.
Yeah, the Buckle.
You remember that from back in the day?
Yeah, I watched on YouTube this 90s thing that broke down like store, like Hot Topic was on it.
Oh,
if you go on YouTube and you search like obscure things like 90s retro, like I look at a lot of retro. If you follow my Instagram, anyone who's listening sees all kinds of retro shit on my Instagram, because I'll post like toys I had as a kid or shit that makes me laugh.
I don't recognize any of them.
I have a stupid sense of humor, but Buckle and like Spencer's, remember Spencer's?
No, John, I don't, because I'm too young.
Spencer's was a thing.
Yes, I do.
Spencer's was amazing.
It was super cool. That was like the cool thing.
If you had a college dorm room, you fucking crushed it.
Hey, want to go to Spencer's?
Yeah, you went in there, you bought black lights.
Yep.
You bought like a Misfits t-shirt. You bought everything.
Yeah.
Anything that glowed, you had it.
Awesome.
You had it. Yeah, it was fucking crazy. Spencer's, Buckle, Hot Topic was one I remember seeing a thing on. The other thing that's kind of like dead from the 90s, I posted on my Instagram the other day. Remember the tape that you used to have to put in your tape player so you could play your Discman or you could play your iPod?
My God, yes. With
how did that thing?
Cord
I'm still trying to figure out how that thing worked.
I don't know.
If you had a tape player, you would put this thing in.
The cord came out.
And the cord came out. It's so archaic when you think about it. You'd put this thing in your car, and a cord would stick out the ass end of it or whatever, and it played the tape somehow, some way through. Well, it played the tape to play your iPod or whatever you plugged into it. At first, it was your Discman. That's how fucking crazy this is.
That's what I remember.
You would plug the Discman, and then if you were really hot shit, you got an auxiliary.
Ooh, yes.
Remember, you had the auxiliary. Then after the auxiliary, maybe you had a CD player in the car, and if you had a CD player in the car, early CD players, and you went over a bump, it skipped.
Yes.
Fucking crazy.
Not even a little bump.
It would skip. But then you were like really hot shit if you had like the Discman that had the anti-skip. But you had to have the good batteries for it to run.
Ooh, I didn't have that. I wasn't cool enough.
Yeah, that was.
So I would go running with it, and it would like every time I run, it would be like.
If you were hot shit, you had a Sony Walkman. Everything else wasn't a Walkman because Sony owned the rights to Walkman.
Yeah, you're right.
I found a picture of one the other day that was the original tape player Walkman, but it had 2 tapes. So when your tape was done, it was kind of like the record player, like when you were done with one record.
I remember those.
The second record
God,
could
it would
drop
just like
down.
go right. Yeah.
It would go right into it.
So cool.
It was like a belt fed. It was like a belt fed music. We could never go back. It would be terrifying.
God.
It would be terrible.
Horrible. Let's never do that.
Yeah, we could never go back if you think about it.
We can reminisce.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. And it's speaking of all things that change, one of the things I wanted to talk to you about, I'm glad I kind of went down that tangent, because one of the things that's changed the most, and I was excited to see it at this SHOT Show, is the women's stuff, is how much women shooting now has really come into being a thing. And not only being a thing, but having their own clothes, having their own bags. I mean, I even got an education on the bag thing recently. It's becoming, women are here. Like now we're dealing with the influx of new minority shooters. I know that. And that's huge. I mean, for the most part, we've had, whether it's Asians or certain groups that have been shooting for a really long time, actually, but women have really come into their own. I mean, in my opinion, as far as having a place at the table in terms of not just shooting, and you brought up Jamie Villamore, not just matches or things like that, but really having their own businesses.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I look at like Alexo Athletica, Amy Robbins. I look at certain brands. I mean, they're here and they're doing some fucking cool shit.
It's super exciting, and it's exciting seeing the companies like run by women, made stuff for women, and then also just like growing so much, and I love it.
Oh, it really is. It's one of the best things, because I think one of the biggest growth spurts we've had in the last 4 or 5 years has been in soft goods in the gun industry. You can buy clothes. This is why I'm so hard on the people in the costumes. You can buy clothes now that don't make you look like a lunatic.
Yes.
You can buy clothes that make you look, you know, like you can go to dinner in them and it's normal. It's okay. You can put on pants. You can put on normal pants.
Regular pants.
You can put on normal stuff.
What?
You know, and listen, I'm a huge fan of like the fanny bags and everything else, but you can put on pants without 14 pockets. It's okay.
What?
There's some cool stuff out there. And now everybody's doing jeans. That's the big one. Everybody's doing jeans. Everybody got the tactical jeans. Tactical jeans. Now, on the floor in 702, you don't carry a ton of product. I want to ask you this. As your inventory gets completely depleted and run down to nothing, to the floorboards.
Won't happen, but go ahead.
How do you go about selecting what goes in there now? Because a lot of times selling the old stuff is unfucking someone's old mess. So now that you're able to like cleanse it, what advice do you give FFLs or people in ranges on what to procure and what to get next? Because that's a big one.
I would say just hire people that are smarter than you. Shout out to Lady Dawn.
No, it's good.
Like literally, that's my keep people that are smarter than you on your team, because I am not an expert at that and she is, and so like keep your employees happy.
Yeah,
Lady Dawn, I'm gonna buy you lunch.
Yeah,
that's how you do that, John. You're welcome. Thank you, everyone.
It's important. Finding the right person. What do they say? Hire slow and fire fast.
Yeah.
Hire slow and fire fast. So.
Exactly. I wish I was an expert. I'm not. Like, thanks, Dawn. Our business is still open. That's what I have to say about that, because that's so important right now too. Like, without that, I could be doing all of these things, right? But it's so hard to get product, and if I don't have product, I can be doing all my operations really, really well, huh? But like, won't have anything to sell. So
yeah, I mean, in your capacity at Range, you have to have no pun intended reference to before, but you have to have the popcorn in a movie theater. You gotta have the little things, like sometimes that are overlooked, the eyes, the ears, the little stuff, because people want their own. Because of COVID, people want their own stuff, and they want they want to have like the basics. So you have to understand what's gonna fit in a gun store and what isn't. Optics are the tough one, always the toughest one, because of the cost of them. There's a huge cost to stocking them. That's why I think every optics company should really just go to a kiosk method.
Yes, please.
That would make the most sense. I've never understood the approach of stocking items like that, especially optics. I mean, I know people want to leave. I know people want to leave the store with it today. I get that. I get it. But you can go to a kiosk-based system, and it would be a lot easier if someone doesn't need that 5x25 scope right now, this instant. Because it creates too much of a logjam in the process. Well, we can order it, and we can do this. It's better. Imagine if there was a kiosk and you could just get your 20% of the sale or whatever. You know what I mean? And it would make your life so much fucking easier.
Yeah.
I've been telling optics companies that for 2 years.
No, they should do that, especially because it's like a personal thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're not,
because
you can't. There's too many options. You can't have those.
You look at the list of all the Gucci products that could go on the top of a rifle, and it's a mile long, and I'm like, when are they going to smarten up?
Yeah, you can't have those on the store. You just cannot. It's not possible.
It's not possible. When can we get to a system where it's a little more open architecture and you just have like a Trigicon kiosk, a right-on kiosk? Hey, we have an iPad right here. We can help you order, and we'll take you get your percentage.
Sign me up.
Yeah, you get your deal.
Sign me up. Let's do it.
I mean, that would make and it frees up shelf space too.
Yeah, absolutely.
For what you want to carry, which is ammo. Or firearms,
right?
Ideally, because you want.
We're not getting on the ammo tangent again, John. Stop it.
No, I won't. I won't go there. I won't do it now.
We can't do it again.
Let's jump to something else. Okay. You're a fitness buff. You like to train. What did you do during COVID? How did you continue?
Well, first I had a parking lot gym.
I remember this. I think I remember.
I did. Yeah, you can like scroll down a little bit on my Instagram, and you're gonna see me working out in the parking lot. Wasn't cute. And then thank God, like right when the 100-degree temperatures came out, gyms opened back up.
We've been lucky here in that sense.
Yeah,
I think
it wasn't so bad.
That gym stayed open.
Bad.
But yeah, the parking lot gym.
I did a parking lot gym. Like I wasn't PRing because I didn't have enough weights, but you keep up.
You got to train. I mean, the theme is you got to train, right?
And I'm just one of those people where like if I don't train enough, I'm crabby. Like you don't.
Sometimes I go through the motions where I just go.
But now I'm gonna come here.
Yeah, I got a gym here.
Yeah,
I got a gym here.
So
Sorinex. Shout out to Sorinex.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, I got a Sorinex rack in here, so yeah, you can train. Yeah, training. Any way you can find it. I think initially everybody was scared that ranges would be closed and things like that, and there was like a brief scare of that. But particularly here in Vegas, we've been lucky because the gyms, like the LVACs and certain gyms, have stayed open.
Yeah,
but they were closed for a little bit. We went through a little bit of a scare for
Aren't
like a month.
they still closed in California? I think they are. Yeah, that's insane.
I believe that they are.
I would be moving.
That's a mess there.
Oof.
That's a mess.
Big mess.
With that motherfucker. They're actually, I think they're at I think it's 1.4 million signatures. I think they need 100,000 signatures to recall him.
Oh, let's do it.
Yeah, I think it's happening.
Okay.
I think what's going to kill him is that whole dinner he went to, that dinner. People don't forget that.
Man, it's like every single governor.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a joke at some point. I'm like, really?
Well, the COVID thing is a farce. And all right, we'll touch the COVID thing.
Uh-oh.
The COVID thing is the COVID thing is a major farce. Okay, listen. Are people getting sick? Yes. Are people dying? Yes. Are we sympathetic to that? Yes. But we're at a point now where they're distributing the vaccine. Something like 5% of the population's been vaccinated, somewhere along those lines. It's a farce because I want to ask Dr. Fauci or ask these people, particularly as it pertains to businesses, right? How long do you want to go with this? What's the number?
Right.
Because there are people that they're putting on air on CNN. I know, guys, I know. But they're putting on air, and they're saying things like, oh, we could be facing 10 years of this. We could be facing, we're 2 years. Let me remind everybody, this started with, we need 2 weeks to flatten the curve.
Yeah.
That's how this started. So I get and understand and respect the long line that is, let's blame the past administration, right? I get it. But how long are you going to do that when you have these science people, right, saying 2 more years, 3 more years, 4 more years? You're going to have no businesses left.
And quite frankly, everything that was done just didn't work. And this is what I always say. If Walmart's open, everything we're doing is a joke. Have you ever been in Walmart, John?
Are you kidding me? Of course.
Have you ever been? It's not that clean.
No. And
it's disgusting. Like, I think I would get sick, before COVID if I went to Walmart. And the fact that, like, the rules that they came up with are just, it's so illogical that I can't. And it's obvious. Like, I don't think there's a person out there that would tell me that Walmart is safe to be open, like, ever, COVID or not. So I just, like, I get I know COVID's real. I know people are dying.
100%.
Just like you said.
Nobody disputes that.
The things that we're doing are just so freaking stupid, and they're not helping at all. Like, McDonald's can be open, but I can't go to the gym, and that's for my health.
No, it's a farce.
Like, I'm just like, what? Huh?
Everything's touchless now. Everything's touchless. I said it before.
It's just not, though. Like, I just don't understand. Like, if I get all my germs over this phone and then I set it on a piece of cardboard and give it to you, like, you're still getting all the...
Everybody needs to take a long look at the movie Demolition Man.
Okay.
That's your future.
Oh, shit.
Pretty soon it's going to be touchless sex. Pretty soon it's going to be touchless this, touchless that. Everybody's going to be walking around saying happy. All the Karens will be like happy, happy, joy, joy. Everything's going to be... Everything is about people's feelings and how they feel. And I brought this up the other day on my thing. I said, I think the woke culture, I think Hollywood's going through a shift. It's going to take a while, but I think it's going through a shift because I pay close attention to industry leaders like Disney and Disney Plus and what they're doing and some of the switch over. And I see some of the changes coming in, like that woke Hollywood structure has to shift, trying to force feed. Oh, well, women can't be in traditional roles and women can't be in this, and it needs to be an it and not a him or a her. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me? We cannot go through. If I had a daughter and that was the approach, I'd be like, are you out of your mind? I understand. I know you do.
I would say amen, John, but instead I'll say a woman.
Yeah. I understand and I get completely that we want to service everybody, but you cannot throw the baby out with the bathwater and instantly expect people to, like, if I had a daughter, I wouldn't want people have the right to choose what bathroom they want to go in. She has to play sports against guys because the guy says, I'd go back to high school right now. I'll play women's sports. I'll go back right now. I'll play every women's sport. I'll be a stud recruit, get a free college education, and I'll play professional whatever. Women's softball or t-ball or whatever.
The sports thing, I don't think I like. And I don't know what the answer is.
No woman should.
Yeah, I don't know what the answer, like.
Because you know why?
I just know this is not the answer.
You know this too, because how protective certain people are about records, especially in the powerlifting and fitness world. A woman worked hard for those records.
Yeah.
A woman worked hard for whatever accolades she has. Now you're going to allow a guy in the octagon against a girl or in a boxing match?
That's a little crazy to me. Yeah, no.
It's completely unrealistic. So I do think that anytime you go too far in one direction, a shift comes. There's going to be a shift and a reset at some point because you gain an inch, but you lose a mile.
Yep.
You see what I mean? You lose a mile. Totally. And I don't necessarily think in the United States, okay, and I know current administration would like us to assimilate to China and to certain regions. And there's a reason they want this globalist mentality, this type of mentality. But I try to explain to people, you're playing a very, very dangerous game with the bastardizing of traditional values and the bastardizing of traditional value sets. And it causes confusion. And when you're developing a young mind, whether it's a son, a daughter, somebody you're mentoring, you want to develop them with strong value sets so they grow up and they go on and they proliferate. Everybody is 100% in favor of all these things, but it cannot be force-fed down people's throats the way that they want to do it. And it's the wrong approach. I was watching last night. They want to come up with like a BLM curriculum in Washington, D.C. I was like, are they out of their fucking mind? Are they out of their mind? And listen,
also just I feel like everything they do is so, not everything. A lot of the things that are being done, again, just stupid and not helpful to the actual problem, but just being done in this like very
echo chamber.
Right. And also this way of like, look at what I'm doing. Like earlier when I made the joke about like a woman instead of a man, amen. The guy said like a woman. Like, what are you doing? That's not even a word. That's not a word that has anything to do with like a masculine or feminine. Like, what are you doing? Like, you're just out there like kind of not really helping the situation, but just like being
making
really
rules up.
Crazy.
It's just making shit up. And it's like, my grandmother would be rolling around in her grave. It's like, and listen, I'm a huge, huge fan of equal opportunity, but you're not always going to get equal outcome, even if you want to force it. Now, you work in an industry that's traditionally male, and you'd agree, it's always going to be somewhat traditionally male.
Yeah, and here's the thing, like, is everything fair for women in business? No, it's not. But also, like, play to your advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there are things that it's way easier for me because I'm a woman, and there are things that are way harder for me because I'm a woman, and it's always going to be that way all the time. If we can make things fair, it's fine. But, like, I'm going to have advantages and disadvantages. And when I was talking before about team, I think knowing that is important. Like, we'll sit there and be like, okay, we have to do this. And it'll be me and a whole bunch of guys, obviously, because like that's the industry.
Of course.
And they'll be like, Kris, you go do it because you're the girl. And I'm like, cool, I'm going to go do it.
Yeah,
I'm the girl.
Of course. Of course.
It's just the way it, like, in some ways, like, we're men and women and we're different. Like, yes, let's make everything fair. And we're not there yet. So like, let's keep working on it. And let's not be freaking idiots.
I think there's been tremendous strides to leveling the playing field. And I think especially in the firearms business, I think as women level up and they have their own businesses and they have their own say and they have their own segments, I think they're going to level up. But just like healthcare, right? Healthcare industry is traditionally a female-dominated industry.
Yep.
And there's reasons for that, right? There's different reasons. There's different modalities to why that industry thrives for women. And that's not going to change no matter what. You can inject equality of outcome. What are you going to do? Just go around to every male and say, you're a doctor now. You're a nurse. You're this. I mean, the nursing market is predominantly women, and it's a great career. It's a great career. Does that make do we need to inject equality of outcome into that? I'm just lost sometimes in terms of what they want, what the end game is. And, I don't quite understand how you can force that without bastardizing a society. You should still always want the best and brightest. And I truly believe like you're the best person to manage the range and to be in charge of that. And that's the foresight of the owners and and you, and that's the best thing for that range. That should never be in question.
Right.
Because when that comes in question, it becomes dangerous. Like someone's cutting you open for open surgery. How'd you get this job? Oh, well, I was the only guy in the room, so I got it. Are you shitting me?
Right. Yeah,
You never want that answer.
No, geez, no. And I don't want a job because I'm a woman, quite frankly. I want it because I earned it and I did well.
That's exactly my point. And it comes back to everything else. Records, things that have been set in stone. Somebody worked hard for that, and it's very hard to take that away. But no, I listen, I love your approach, and I love the what the range has done and everything that you're doing and everything that you continue to do there. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to get any easier. Do you see at any point it relaxing a little bit, a light at the end of the tunnel in terms of gun buyers? Because I don't see it anytime soon, Kris, and I don't know that it's going to be coming into I don't see it slowing down is my point. I don't know if you see it or you see any type of slowdown in who's coming in and who's training or who's buying anything or the lack of questions. I just don't see it slowing down anytime soon.
No, it's not slowing down.
I mean, I can't see we don't necessarily want it to.
Right.
But at the same time, that's where I'm getting at with the ramping up of production. I don't see a light at the end of the tunnel in the short run.
No, it's not happening anytime soon. Nope.
I just don't see it.
We're
not going anywhere. Well, listen, we went on and on. I don't know. What time is it?
It's noon.
Oh, God.
I was just looking at that.
Yeah, an hour and 20.
I know.
We went long. Listen, I want to first thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me. We got to do this once a year now.
Oh, God, yeah. At least. It's been too long. I appreciate you. I appreciate you taking the time. It means a lot. And having you come in and spend an hour, I know how busy you are. And I know you got a bunch of animals over there you got to go tend to. So I appreciate it. And I can't thank you enough.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah,
I'm going to come get my lift in.
He has
a full-on gym in here, and he's been holding out on me, guys.
It's a full-on gym. There's TVs, there's walls, there's everything. We got fun for the whole family. Let everybody know where they can find you, how they can reach you, and let them know where the range is. Yeah, Range702. It's in Las Vegas. You can't miss us. Like, as you drive in to come to the strip, you'll see it. It's huge. I'm on YouTube, Instagram, Kris Chanski. The YouTube thing's new, right? It's super new, and it's like, it's just, it's all happening so fast. It's all happening so quick, I can't control it. The fame. No, it's all happening so fast. I just always say fame. Like when yes, super famous, massively famous. Fame. That's what I say to everybody. Fame. So, listen, I'll put those links down below. I appreciate it. Go over to Range702. If you're in Vegas, if you're ever in Vegas, go over to 702. It's a great experience. They have a VIP room. They do the whole nine. It's a great, Kris will make it so much fun. Head over there and check them out. Come say hi to me. Come say hi. So I want to thank all the sponsors. Head over to www.johnbartoloshow.com. Go check out all the sponsors listed there. But I also want to take a minute and thank Full Courts and Firearms. Special thanks to them. I do want to thank Gallo Technologies, Right On Optics, Enforce Weapon Lights, Rhino Metals, everybody and anybody on the website. Go check them out, support the show. If you haven't left a review, please leave a review. If you don't subscribe to the show, please subscribe. I can't do it without you guys. We need you. So all the support you can give is greatly appreciated. Any interaction and comments are greatly appreciated. You had questions. Wait, did we skip the questions? Fuck, we got them all? No, skip the questions. All right. I'm gonna do a YouTube. I have there's like 300 questions at this point. I'm gonna do YouTube. Wait, pick two. I'm pick one. I'm gonna pick one. Let's see. I'm just going to scroll. We could do another one of these. But pick two. Fuck. What's your favorite blade? Am I allowed to show my favorite blade? Yeah, go ahead. Scallywag Tactical. Scallywag Tactical. Dagger. I like that. Let me see that.
Yeah. This is I have two different. There's an aluminum and a D2. That's the aluminum.
This will do some damage.
When I don't carry a firearm, that's what I carry.
When Dave turns on me, I can take him out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
That's crazy.
For real.
What else? Give me another question.
One more question. Let's see.
Scallywag Tactical.
Do you know about them?
No.
Ooh. Oh, God, these questions are
just go. Give another one.
Just killing me.
I know, but they're good.
There's like 87 age questions.
I know,
like
but
everybody really wants to know how old I am, so I'm just
52.
You nailed it. No, I'm 37. I'm about to turn 38 next month.
Spring chicken.
Send me a birthday gift.
Want to do one more? Do one more.
God. Oh,
You just say it, even if it's dirty.
How are you so hot? What
lots of sleep.
Do you ever put guns in your underwear to sleep? Like I can't. I'm done.
Under the pillow, maybe. In the underwear? What's that? The bang bra?
I don't even.
There is a bra.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm a belt and holster girl. Like I'm not. No, I'm wearing a
no
belt
bang bra.
And I'm wearing a freaking holster.
No, I need one more. That's too good. These are good. I could do this all day. Give
wrap
another
it
one.
up, John. This is
fucking awesome. I should have done this. I should have opened with this.
I refuse. There's
got to be one more good one.
I want to. What's your favorite color? Black.
No, that's too easy.
Have you done any competitive shooting? I have not. I'm honestly I'm thankful to be sitting here, but I'm a freaking novice. I've only been in this like 3 years. I still have a lot of learning to do. I hang out with girls that are competitive shooters. They're amazing.
Competitive shooting is a lot of standing around and waiting anyway.
What's the thing I'm most afraid of?
Oh, that's a good one.
I have no idea. I usually barrel.
I'll take a crack at that.
Go.
Crowds.
I hate crowds.
Yeah,
you're right.
I know you hate crowds.
Okay, I wouldn't say I'm terrified of them, but I'm like, I hate them.
You don't like crowds?
A lot. No, leave me alone. Stop looking at me. Don't touch me. Stop talking to me.
Yeah, you start getting itchy. Well, yeah.
Just talking about it, I'm like,
yeah. It gets a little much. We'll have to do we'll have to do a whole separate show on
We'll
the
just
Q&A.
do a Q&A show. I love that.
I'll do it anytime you want.
Yeah,
Full Q&A.
We're going to do that.
Oh, it's desirable. So, fame.
Fame.
All right. Listen, I'll get you out of here because I know you're going to jump. But I appreciate you coming out. Thank all the sponsors. I appreciate everyone who supports the show. And head over to 702, as I said before. It's a great thing. And we'll get Kris answering some of those questions. We'll get her back in. We'll make our promise in the next 3 months. Yes, we'll have her back in and we'll do another one.
Q&A.
Save those. Screenshot. So.
Deal.
Oh, I want to thank Kuyu Clothing, too. Special thanks to them. And Graybo. Got a nice stock up on the wall now with it.
Graybo.
Yeah, Graybo stocks. We're going to sign out. I appreciate everybody. Please leave some comments and everything on YouTube in particular. And I appreciate everyone who follows and hit subscribe. We're out.